You are now entering the minds of Brian DeLuca and Nicolette Emino. Listen carefully, because, in their randomness, you'll find nuggets of inspiration, creativity, and insight you can use on your own journeys. Well, hopefully. Otherwise, you've just wasted your time. But there's only one way to find out if they're absolutely insane or completely genius. Go on! Listen in!
So, look behind me.
Yeah, I see it. I see a big, giant white elephant.
Right, it's a giant white elephant. So this weekend, we went to Manhattan. We went to actually went to the National Geographic experience in Times Square,
And
which
they
was
had giant white elephants.
really, really cool. No, but there was a street fair, like a fair, and so I decided that we really, really needed a statue in the house because we don't have enough junk. So so I'm like, wouldn't this be perfect? We could put this and it would contrast with our back furniture. And, of course, everybody thought it was a bad idea. And it's really heavy. Really, really heavy. It's a weapon. So with Michael running around, that's dangerous. But I insisted we get this because I thought it would be really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm driving home. My sister says, you have to leave its ass out, right? And I was, so
Okay.
I said, what do you mean? And she said, well, it's bad luck. You have to keep the elephant facing rear end out. You can't have it face on.
Not like rub its belly like...
No. So I'm like, Amber, why would I buy this if I knew I had to keep it facing that way? I don't want to stare at an elephant's ass all day. So she's like, no, it's bad luck. It's really bad luck. Everybody knows that. And I'm like, no, not everybody knows that. So okay. I actually spoke to a few other people, and they're like, no, that's true. So my mother, she has a cleaning woman that comes to her house because my mother can't clean her own house for whatever reason. But she even this woman knows and faces all of her elephants and statues that way, and nobody ever told her to do that. So this is like
all statues are just elephant statues.
She has a few elephant statues, so that's why it.
Okay.
And I didn't think of that when I was buying this, but clearly I'm turning into my mother. But this is a thing. So I started thinking about all of the weird crap people come up with, and how superstitious we are. I mean. So, but now it's in the back of my head, and now you see it's not facing. She's like, well, you don't have to keep it directly backwards, but you can't have it face on.
Catty corner or sideways.
Right. So this is how it's on my dresser now.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was the strangest thing, but then I started thinking, I'm kind of weird like that too with other things, umbrellas in the house and all the superstitions that exist out there. But I mean, it's funny because when we started our company, Brian, I wouldn't talk to people about it, and I started to realize how superstitious I really am, because I was like, I don't want to talk about it because I don't want any bad juju, so, and you, I mean, sometimes I do that to you. Don't talk about it. We're not going to talk about it today.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just thinking about weird superstitions.
It's interesting too, because I actually truly believe a lot of creatives are actually very superstitious people. You see it in a lot of writers, like they gotta do this and that before they sit down to write, or artists before they paint, they get into what they're defined as superstition. But I guess my question is it really superstition, or is it like ritual, right? And in that ritual, whatever that ritual is, does it have you connected that ritual? Like, because you look at people who, and I know this is an extreme version and it's not really comparing to, but like that are like OCD, let's say. And they feel like if they're OCD, right, if they do this, then they'll have a good outcome, let's say. Like,
right.
Turn the doorknob 5 times. I mean, make up any pattern you want. But is it, I actually think, because I think everyone who's a creative is somewhat, I want to say, I'm going to use ritualistic here for superstitious, but ritualistic. And I actually believe it's because you're trying to get your mind into the correct place to function, like into that flow state or whatever, whatever noun you want to put on that. Because I, I don't know if I'm necessarily superstitious. I am ritualistic. Like when I'm really working on super creative projects, and it's more like my personal projects where it's super deep creativity. Like I've been working on this book forever. Do you know what I mean? But what happens is when I get into the zone where I really want to write it. Do you know what I do sometimes at night? I literally, I'll actually show you. I actually got not a photo of what I'm actually doing, but it will give you the idea of what is going on. So hold on one second. Let me share my screen.
Oh, this is the surprise. You said you had a surprise.
But basically, this is what I do. I pretty much and I take an Epsom salt bath, and I literally float in the water and think about sort of, because like I said, it's a book, right? And you could take this on anything, whether it's an article or a drawing you're doing or whatever. But you're pretty much I pretty much float in like in an Epsom salt bath and pretty much think about what I'm gonna write. And what's crazy is, as crazy as this sounds, since we're talking about superstition and ritual, I feel like I'm getting downloads from the universe into what I actually need to put on paper in some ways, because my mind's relaxing. Do you know what I mean? And it's getting into that sort of state, that flow state where I'm getting into that creative place. Like maybe I had a really crazy day. We were working on some really crazy project, right? Now I want to work on my book, or I want to do something that's creative, work on some of my, drawings or whatever. But what happens is it almost sort of separates me and lets me reset. So it's almost like my ritual to
reset. It's bath meditation.
It sort of is. It sort of lets me reset to get into that zone, that flow state to actually be creative. So I would say for me, that's probably the most, superstitious, but I think like a lot of people, they define superstition as it's the ritual. And in doing those things, sometimes I think what happens is it gets them into the right state of mind to compete. You see athletes do this all the time. We see athletes do this all the time. They got to listen to certain music before they go and they perform, or they got to do certain things, or they got to, watch baseball players. Sometimes they'll do the same thing. They'll tap it on the bottom of their shoe or whatever, right? The bat. And it's just, they're getting into that zone. Even those little tiny patterns sometimes put people in the right state of mind. And I think that's probably what's going on with most people.
But do they believe it? That's where I question, do you believe that something bad is really going to happen because you didn't do this thing? So, and I'm guilty. I will not let anybody open an umbrella in the house. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. I don't walk under a ladder. I don't walk under a ladder because I'm not an idiot. I don't want to get hurt, but there's a difference. Like, do you believe? Mm-hmm. I think there's a difference between the belief and the act of, like, the ritual part. Because look, I have a 104-year-old great grandmother who makes coffee every day, and when she makes her coffee, she does X amount of scoops and always one for the house. And that's just why do you do that? And it's a ritual. That's a ritual to me. That's not, she doesn't believe something bad is going to happen. That's just the way it was always done. But it's something bad. But I believe, and this is where I started thinking, I really believe that there have been times where I've put things out into the universe, and for lack of a better word, the haters in the universe send out these bad vibes, whether it be, I don't know. And it kind of like things don't really work out the way that they were almost going to work out.
Well, yeah, no, I'm a believer. You need to put the positive out into the universe, right? You need to think about the positive and the things you want, and without getting too deep into it. But I really believe one of my true beliefs is if you truly believe and you ask the universe, it will give it to you, whatever it is. That's my belief, right? So if you sit there and you go, and it simple stuff. I'm not talking about like crazy things, but like I'm going to use the example of writing my book, right? I'm working on this chapter and I need to sort of think about it, and I'm just sort of, I get in that zone and I'm sort of meditating and connecting with, and whether, it's really in the universe or it's in my mind. I'm not really here to do that, right? Do you know what I mean? But it gets me into that place where I'm connecting to what I feel is the universe, right?
Right.
And it's giving me downloads or giving me informations, and whatever you want to say that universe is, that's up to you. You can define it however you want, but I feel like it's giving me what I need in terms of creativity. But that's much different than superstition, like thinking, if I don't do this, something,
Right.
bad is going to happen.
So
That's,
that was my question. Do you have any weird superstitions? And I'm curious what other weird superstitions are out there, because I didn't know about this one. So now I have an elephant sideways on my dresser. So
it's weird. I don't think I have any weird superstitions. I think what I've done though is there are things I know that become ritualistic for me. So for instance, and it's all different places. Like when I go running, right? What I do is, how like there's the walkways, across the street, the
Right.
white ladder looking things.
hmm
What I do is, did you ever do the thing? Did you ever go to like, I mean, pick a name of a type of gym, but where they have a ladder and you sort of do your steps through it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So what I do is as I'm running across the street, what I'll do is I'll do like sort of this sideway. I don't want to say it's a jump, but as I'm running, I'm going side to side in big exaggerated motions in between and skipping over the white lines. Now I'm not going, if I step on the white line, something's going to happen. What I'm thinking is, okay, I'm getting additional cardio. But what's crazy is that ritual, that change in the pace of just running, jogging, now I hit a crosswalk. I'm changing that pace. What happens is it speeds up my run for the next, I'm just making this up. I don't know how long because I've never really timed it, but for the next 300 feet. And what's happening, what's happening for me at least, I don't know if I'm superstitious, but those little ritualistic things seem to help me change or I shouldn't say change, but actually do better at the thing I'm doing. And I know those patterns and those changes and that whatever that meditation with the Epsom salt, it changes where my mind is, and when I'm running, it changes where my mind is. All of a sudden now, even if I'm tired, I got a little bit of a burst of energy, because I've changed the pattern or I've changed the way I'm connecting to me, the universe, and I don't know. I guess for me, everything I thought used to think was a superstition, to me, it's something ritualistic in many ways in terms of where I'm preparing myself to, whether it's go for the run or, work on my book or even stuff we do when we're doing a lot of creative pieces. What do I need to make sure I got in line so that way I'm I'm ready to go. Do you know what I mean? Or I'm building myself up to it. And I don't know if it's the same thing. I mean, we probably need like, someone with expertise in this to tell us, but yeah, so.
All right. Well, if anybody else has any weird superstitions, please let us know. I would love to know.
I'm just curious, like no one rubs like the elephant's butt for good luck or something like that. I mean,
No.
I would think if you're putting it butt side out, I don't know.
Listen, you know what? And then I said to myself, well, I wouldn't have bought it if I knew I had to be so particular about which way I positioned it. Now I'm neurotic. I walk by it, my son touches it, I'm like, oh gosh, some bad karma is coming. I get crazy. I have the OCD, so.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's it. Let us know.
Yep. Let us know. And feel free to subscribe on our YouTube channel. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye-bye.